What's up, guys? What's going on? DP in the building. This is a tutorial about the fundamentals of a fighting game and this game in general. I got into a discussion with a few people in the community. I got into depth with a lot of things, and they wanted me to make a video, explain some stuff. So this series of vids that I'm making is pretty much to help those starting out the game. You can't figure out how top players, good players go on about, making their moves. How do they get reads? How do they know, what your opponent's gonna do? How they make being safe? Why do they win? Why do they lose? How do they plan? How they strategize? Stuff like that. We're gonna start from the basics. Down from square one, we're just gonna work our way up there. So by the time I'm done with this series of vids, hopefully we'll answer some questions, and so on and so forth. So this part is pretty much going to be how to start off a match, pretty much. I might add data fishing to this part, or I might add it to the next segment. We'll see what happens. Alright. Don't pay no mind that I'm using Peach. You can do this. This is general. You can do this with any character. Start off a match. What you want to do is you want to go near your opponent. Do stuff like this. Sometimes space your moves just in case they want to jump in at you. This pretty much says you try to jump in at me, you're getting hit. If you don't see people jumping at you and you're not landing attacks a lot, one, they're respecting your space, and that's what you want to gain the respect. They're respecting your space. So that means you don't have to worry about jumping too much because you're spacing your moves properly, and every time they try, they will get hit. So yeah, that out the way. You're being safe, and also you're seeing what your opponent does when you go near him. So like if you go near him, and let's say if I did this and I saw the morph with block, I'm gonna do that. But after you see something happen once, like if I saw the morph block, I'll just do that, and I won't try to go for anything else. And then I'll do it again and see if the morph's gonna keep blocking or is he gonna try to, jump out, roll, whatever. This is pretty much how you figure out what to do, because a lot of players, they jump, they just attack in general and nothing is planned. They're just gonna attack and then just hope the shit work. Be like, oh, I'm gonna just hope my opponent's stupid and this works. Or I'm too lazy, I don't feel like thinking, I'm tired, my girl left me, how the fuck everything? Now, you gotta plan your moves out first. You can't depend on luck. Luck you have no control of. Remember that. When it comes to luck, you have no control. If you have no control of the situation, it is not good for you. You want control of the situation. So, yeah, you pretty much go near your opponent a few times, space your moves, so in case they try jumping at you. If they jump, if they don't jump, you're good. They're respecting your space. Now, when you're going in, pay attention to what your opponent's doing. Is he gonna block? Is he gonna sidestep? Is he gonna roll? Is he gonna jump and attack me? Whatever the case may be. Always remember, when you go near your opponent, they're going to react. No matter what. No matter what they do. Block, sidestep, roll, attack. Whatever the case may be, they're going to react. Anybody that tells you otherwise is full of shit. And you can tell them I said that. So based on the reaction that they're giving you, you see which reactions are more common. Look for the more common reaction that you see when you put your opponent in a certain situation. Like if I do this, right? If I notice my opponent is sidestepping a lot, every time I did that, I'd be like, alright. Not every time I did that, he didn't sidestep. He probably rolled. But most of the times that I got him in that situation, he sidestepped, 60-70% of the time? Then, rolled. So here is where I make an educated read. This is how you make educated guesses and stuff. Every time I did this, I noticed my opponent, 70% of the time he rolled. So 70% of the time he sidestepped. I could use the roll information, but whatever. Example. But yeah, he sidestepped. So when I get him in that situation again, I'm like, you know what? the best thing for me to do right now, if I'm going to do anything at all in this situation, I am going to try to go for a grab or short hop there. Why? Because in that situation, 70% of the time, he would sidestep. So I'm going to do this, sidestep, grab him. Get the grab. Or if I'm afraid that I'm going to mistime my grab, in Peach's case, down there. You can't sidestep a down there. So, you know, just do that. If I sidestep, they're going to sidestep right into it. So that's pretty much how you figure out what to do. You read your opponent. Blah, blah, blah. Excuse me, I'm so tired. Yeah, that's how it pretty much go. You get them in a situation, and based on how they react, you look for the most common reaction that they do when you get them in a set situation. Yeah, wow, that was perfect. Damn, that's the best way to explain that. Look for the most common reaction when you get your opponent in set situation. But you might be also wondering, like, how do you figure that out? Like I said, that was one way. On, let's say, block. Like, you want to figure out what your opponent does on block. Give up hits. Like, in this case, if I fair somebody's shield, I'm going to either fair jab him or fair sidestep, fair roll. I'm not going to go for the double jab. The reason for that is I'm not sure what my opponent's going to do on shield. So I do that while being safe so I can't get punished. And also I see how my opponent tries to retaliate or how to react, whatever the case may be. So if I fared and jab, if I see my opponent likes to try to grab me, even though this game came out 2008, in year 2013, people still try to grab Peach between her fair and her jab, which is impossible unless you like power shield the jab. Actually, not even if you power shield the jab. Oh, random note. Peach's jab is 0 on block, so even if you power shield it, you still can't grab her because it's 0. Power shielding is just 0. So since her jab is 0 on block, if you do the perfect spacing, you can't even get grabbed. Power shielding won't save you. So yeah, with that out the way, yeah, so you do that once. The reason I do this is in the case that they block and then try to grab me or something. So I do this, I jab them and then move away or do that. Sometimes I just do that and not try to close the distance too much. So if they jab a few times, I know for a fact, you know what, keep jabbing because they keep trying to freaking grab me. So just jab them. Now, if you see them blocking, right, to confirm a block and be safe about it, just do that and then move away. So if they block the fair and the jab, you know for a fact, you know what, they're going to keep blocking. If they do that a lot, like I said before, the most common situation, the most common habit you see based on that situation, if they block, be like, alright, most of the time, he did other things, but like 70-80% of the time, he would just block. So, fair him and then grab. So, yeah, I hope this should have been a good explanation. If you have any questions and comments about this, anything that, is misleading, you don't get, let me know. I'm going to end this part here, and then we'll go on to part 2. So stay tuned. Peace.